My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Natalia. And this is the twofer again.
Just the Canadian line today.
That's right, just the Canadians, and just in time for the episode that our analytics say the people like the most, which is the What We're Watching episode that y'all on audio cannot get enough of. Big fans. Love that energy. So we will continue to do it.
I am a big fan of the, basically no homework episode.
That's
right?
true. That's true. It's nice. And for anyone who may be joining us for the first time, this episode is where we just tell you what we've been watching in April, or whatever month we're in. And we do it the last Monday of pretty much every month if we're not, something hasn't happened that we can't record. And this month is no different, though there are just two of us, because guess what? Other things have happened to the other two, so they can't record. So it's just the two of us. And we're gonna do it. It's the way it's go. We've each picked two main shows that we'll talk about, and then we do a little speed round where we just tell you other stuff that we've watched and enjoyed, or maybe are warning you against. Who knows? And that's what we're gonna do. And Amanda, you're gonna take us right home, right off, and let us know what's something you've been watching.
My sister and I have been watching Missing the Other Side season 2 because
fun.
It's on Netflix now. It doesn't look like season 1 is on Netflix anymore, which is weird.
That's so bizarre. I never know what they're doing over there.
The Netflix, the title, how they have the title card or whatever, is from season 1. But when you go in, there's just 14 episodes. There's no, season 1, season 2, click back and forth situation. There's only the new episodes.
But
it still has the old title card.
Huh.
Okay, whatever. So, for people who don't know, Missing the Other Side is a story about a couple of men who, through trauma, now can see ghosts, and they discover a village of ghosts in the mountains. This is what happens to people who go missing, who don't have proper, death rights taking care of them. And because they can interact with these ghosts, they help solve their crimes, and then these ghosts can go on to the afterlife, because the ghosts have clues that the police don't have, right? They don't have access to that. So, okay, cool. The first season, no spoilers, but it does end with them no longer able to see the village.
And for anyone curious, I did just double check. The first season is available on Viki in North America, so it is still available to watch. Just not on Netflix for some reason. It wasn't. Streaming licensing is bizarre.
Crazy. So season 2 starts up, and the three of the main characters from the first season are now living together. In theory, they've bought a house together. In reality, the girl who's a hacker who used to work for the government and quit when she inherited a pawn shop, she makes very good money, and she bought a house that they pay her rent because she can afford to buy a house. They cannot afford to buy a house, and they don't really pay rent either, because
listen, what are friends for? What are friends for? It
kind of reminds me of Ken from the Barbie movie when he says, "My job is just beach." Their job is just help. So now that they can't see dead people anymore, their job is still just help, and help does not pay well. So they run cons on con artists in order to get the money back for the people who were conned. And why
not? Why not?
But it doesn't pay real well. Nona gives them meatballs. It's not
it's a nice bartering system that really only works in the countryside,
Yeah. So they in the first episode, they are helping this old lady, and this young man in his early 20s says, "Oh, you went that way. go catch him kind of thing. And later the older guy who used to be able to see ghosts says to the younger guy, did you notice anything weird? And he's like, no, why? And he's like, well, that guy can walk through walls and we can see ghosts again. And he's like, what? So they ask the kid, they keep bumping into him, where are you? Do you know where your body is so we can help you and everything? He goes, oh, I know where I am. Gives them an address. They go to this derelict, rundown, abandoned section of the city, walk down this aisle, like this alleyway, and wind up on a beach near a lake. And they're like, oh, okay, it's a different dead people village. So
a new village has spawned.
It's a new village. This village, it basically centers around a school. There's essentially like a school with dorms and a lot of children. There's a lot of children in this village and elderly people. So there are grown-ups who are like being teachers and caring for these kids. But basically the whole village life centers around making sure that these children who are trapped there for decades have decent, deadly childhoods or whatever. Like, it's very, but they're trying to like make sure that these kids don't have more trauma than they need to have, given the fact that they're obviously have gone missing and nobody has noticed or whatever, right? So it's a harsh kind of story because you're dealing with dead people. But on the one hand, for me, I find it really, it doesn't make me anxious because everybody's dead. You know they're dead. Like,
you don't have to worry about them dying again if they're already dead. Yeah.
So, now we did have in this one the first season was the same. There's sort of stories of the week where you're helping out these ghosts, and then there's an overarching mystery that involved like real estate and stuff in the first season. This season, slightly heightened. It's drug dealers and illegal organ harvesting. So every time like the girl that they live with is like helping them out or gets left on her own, we're like, is she gonna wind up in a hole? Like, I don't, so far so good. We're like episode 10. She's not dead yet. So like,
that's
fingers crossed she's making it through. This season is very, very similar to the first season. Like, lots of great characters, good. Last week we're watching, and I think it's like episode 10 or something, and we're laughing our butts off at one part. Like, it just, something what the cop from the first season is in this season as well, and he's doing, it just made us laugh. It was so good, so funny. Not like slapsticky funny, but just, it was a really good funny moment. And then like 10 minutes later, we're crying because, that's the nature of this story. And it's always like bittersweet. You solve the mystery and then you lose a character that you liked, but you're happy for them, but like also sad for me kind of thing. And I just looked at my sister. I was like, this is such a good show. Like, it's just
this
so
is like
good.
really excellent though. This is like really good.
It's well written. It's well directed. They know how to go right up to the line and not cross it. Like, because this is a season that deals with a lot of children, there is a plot line that involves a child molester, and they never use the words. They never go into detail. Yeah. But from the things that the adult actors say and the ways they respond, you know what he did. Yeah. And it's like, but we don't need to give you details. We don't need to give you visuals.
You don't need to make it explicit for the point to get across. Yeah.
And they do just such a good job of doing that, making sure without grossing you out, like doing anything that would make it weird. And and I mean, I'm assuming because this is this season is 2 years old at this point, I think. I assume there's not going to be a third season, but they did definitely, there are some things we're introduced sort of peripherally to the fact that there is a third village that's not really a village. It's like a high-rise apartment in the middle of like Seoul, but it's also a village of the missing. So they have sort of a setup where they could do a season 3 and have a completely different location.
I guess you'll find out if the end of season 2 brings you when you get there.
I thought I was going to be done it by today, but we were both like just exhausted after Easter weekend, and so we didn't get around to it. But also, I thought it was a 12 episode season, and it's 14 episodes.
Oh, that's like a weird number. That feels like a weird. It's very strange because the show I'm about to talk about also is a 14 episode show.
It's so weird.
It's a weird number of episodes. Like it feels wrong somehow, even though there's absolutely nothing weird about 14 episodes. But I'm just like, I don't know, man.
Okay, sure.
I don't know.
So, it's interesting. There's some twists this season. There's some different things. There's some birth secrets and some different stuff going on. But it's just been a really, really enjoyable. Sometimes my sister and I will start watching a show together, and neither one of us wants to say, like, are you done with this? Because I'm done with this. You know, because you don't want to, like,
you're all politely dancing around in a circle, like,
but we're also,
but what if they really like it? Like, I can't, you know.
And you're just not really making, like, plans to get together the way that you do. Like, this one, it's like, tonight, we're going to watch tonight? Yeah, okay. Because
done.
It's
perfect.
Just that good, and we're just enjoying it that much. And, the actors have been fantastic. There's a lot of humor around the fact that the older guy who can see ghosts has, over the last 20 years, worked with this one detective in the missing people's unit. And then we got introduced in the first season. A lot of it revolved around this younger detective that the younger guy who can see ghosts worked with. And they both know that there's something about these guys, but they don't know that each other knows. So then, like, a lot of the stuff in the detective's office is them kind of dancing around each other going like, oh, how did you know to look for the body there? I just had a tip from, you know, and it's like, you both know, but they don't know that each other. So it adds a little extra humor, but without, like, just light moments. That's nice. Because it can get kind of heavy. You're like, oh, this is sad. And sometimes it's just very, very sad. And
sometimes
like,
sad things happen when you're dealing with stories about ghosts, you know?
Yeah. Especially when you're talking about missing people, because sometimes it's missing people who their family know they're missing, but they're getting told by the cops that no, they're not really missing.
They just ran away.
Right? And then sometimes nobody knows they're missing. And
that's almost sadder.
It is, right? Like, it's sad for the person who's missing, and it's sad for the families once the body gets found and then they find out that no, this person was missing, right? Like, it's rough. It's rough to watch sometimes, but it's also very much like a healing drama, because there's like this trauma that gets dealt with for these people and stuff. And it's neat. They've got like an art therapist in the village who died mysteriously, but now she works in this school helping these little ghosty children have their like trauma fixed. So it's cute. It's a good one. So I definitely recommend, if you have access, go watch season 1 on Viki and then go watch season 2 on Netflix. And it's a good time.
Oh, streaming services.
How about you, Natalia? What you up to?
For my 14 episode drama as well, I watched the 2023 Thai rom-com Faceless Love. Now I'm going to read you the synopsis, and it might start to sound a little familiar because it follows this boss who's very rude and condescending and secretly has face blindness, who then his cousin, who runs their company with him, who everyone likes, hires him a secretary to help him become not a shitty person.
Nice.
And if you're like, wow, this sounds really familiar, that's because it is a remake of Rich Man, Poor Woman,
Okay.
which was a Japanese drama, which then was remade into a Korean drama starring Suho from EXO. And now it's been remade again into a GMMTV Thai drama starring Do and Kao and Luke, if you're familiar with those actors. And I gotta say, it was fine. It was adequate. The reason I started watching this was because a few weeks ago, Jessie and I did an episode on Leap Day that Stars do as well, and I was very impressed with him in that. So I was like, oh, I'll go see what, I'll go, and I'd seen F4, obviously, but I'm like, I don't want to rewatch F4. I'll go see what else he's been in. And I hit play on this, and I was like, this seems really familiar. Oh, okay, I see.
Have you watched like the Korean?
Yes, I've seen both the other ones.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, this is not the best version of this, but it is one of the easiest ones to find because it is on YouTube for free on the GMMTV channel. The girl is very sweet and plucky, as you would expect. I gotta give props to Luke. This is the one thing that bothers me about this show. Okay, there's a few things. Because, like, his facial blindness, he wasn't born with it. It came from a trauma of him being, like, abandoned by his mother.
Oh.
But his mother, like, left because she found out she had... This isn't a spoiler. You find this out in, like, episode 2. That she had early onset Alzheimer's.
Oh.
And so she's still alive. Like, this is, like... 15 years later after she like abandons him at an amusement park. Okay, so then he's raised by his grandpa because she doesn't want him to know that she has, you know, Alzheimer's, and his dad is dead, and so everyone's just like, oh, she ran away. And I'm like, this seems like a wild choice to make. To be like, oh, I have Alzheimer's. I'm from a rich family that will definitely take care of me with a son that loves me, but I'm just gonna, like, abandon him at a theme park. But, like, she's been being taken care of by the main girl's family, who, like, found her at a church. And so they, like, check in on her and make sure she's okay, because they know. And, like, she tells them all about her son. And it's just like, what is happening? But... So he's raised by his grandpa with his cousin, and his cousin's mother is like, you gotta be mean to this kid. I don't like this kid. Like, this kid, your grandpa wants him to inherit because he was his son's kid instead of me, his daughter, and even though you're older. And so she's just, like, nasty to this child who then grows up. But, like, at first, Luke's character is so nice. But he breaks bad so quickly at, like, a moment's notice where I'm just like, dude, you were, like, genuinely friends with your cousin. And then suddenly you're just like, I'm choosing to be evil now for no reason. But the other thing I gotta warn on this drama, this was actually made this drama worth watching for me, is that I know that GMMTV is bad for product placement. But when I tell you from the first episode, the product placement in this show is so egregious, like, so just absolutely insane. So it has the actors Pepper and one of the twins. Which twin?
Doesn't matter.
It's JJ. So, like, if Pepper's the guy who played anyway, they played together again in The Heart Killers. They were lovers. And it's like kind of implied that they're lovers in this, but, like, it never goes into it. But, like, their sole purpose is to, like, show up one time to advance the plot. But the only other time you ever see them is they're in charge of hawking all of this product placement. Which I was crying, Amanda. Like, I was crying laughing. Like, there'll be a scene where they're just in the office and they'll be like, here, load the paper in the new Canon printer. Look how beautifully it prints. And it'll be like, oh, here, try this new ramen flavor. It's delicious. And I'm just sitting here like, this is embarrassing. Because, like, listen, I got no problem with product placement. Okay,
I mean,
you need to listen. You
gotta pay the bills.
You gotta pay the bills. Okay, and there's shows that have really, like, integrated it in a much more like in a much less jarring manner.
Mhm.
Like Undercover High School, for example, their big sponsor was Quiznos. Really funny, like for many reasons. But instead of it just being like they randomly go to a Quiznos, it's like they're undercover as Quiznos employees, as like off. So it's like, okay, like that is a non-jarring way to like integrate this product placement, but just being like, here, have a snack. These snacks are delicious. Like, I'm just like, this is, come on, guys. But so that almost made it worth watching because I was like, what are they gonna
What's gonna come up next? Yeah.
It does suffer from people are so evil but then get forgiven real quickly disease.
Yeah.
But like, listen, it's nothing.
If you can't handle that, the Asian drama game is not for you.
It's not for you. Like,
sorry.
Like, there was some absolutely egregious stuff that went down that everyone was just really willing to overlook by the end of this show. And I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I'd be this magnanimous. You know what I mean? Like, but it was fun. Like, it was fun enough. I didn't hate watching it, but it's not going on my top dramas list, but it was good for wasting a little bit of time. And like, especially if you're suffering from like anxiety, nothing like this show will distract you from it because it's like so milquetoast the entire way. But I will say they do show like how he sees faces. Creepy. Yeah, creepy. They do that thing where they just sort of like erase all the facial features, but like leave like a blank skin tone. And I was like, ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
I read a book about somebody with face blindness, and I was like, okay, and there was like a foreword from the author. She did so much research because it's a real thing, right?
It's a real thing, yeah.
And it is often like trauma induced on people and all this stuff, but it was really interesting to have it described because her main character was somebody who had a head injury and developed it, and she was an artist. So it was a real pain for her, right? It was a big problem. And so having her describe that, it was almost like for her as an artist, everybody looked like the world was Picasso now, but not, because it wasn't quite. But you could, like, when you look at a Picasso, you still know that those are meant to be eyes.
Those are eyes, those are nose, that's a mouth,
You didn't get that. Like, she didn't know what was meant to be the eyes anymore. Eyes weren't eyes to her anymore. Yeah. It was really difficult. And it was a very interesting thing to, like, for me, having been somebody who, you know, seen it so many times in Asian dramas, that I thought, like, I was like, is this like a thing that is more common than I realized?
I don't think it's that common. Like, I don't think it's like super common, but like,
you know, like, they make stuff up in these dramas sometimes, like diseases that do not exist.
That don't exist. But this one is an actual thing.
Yeah,
this is an actual thing. I will say it was very charming, where she would like go around and she would like tell him what people's facial expressions were, so he knew how to react to them. Because that's why, apparently, that's the reason why he was so rude to everyone, because he didn't want to, like, you know, have an inappropriate emotion to like someone. But I'm just like, okay. She was like basically training him like a dog with a clicker. Legit. And I was like, okay, you know what? And so anyway, it was a perfectly fine like remake. They changed a lot of stuff, and it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, it was an absolutely adequate watch. And I watched all of it, which is like stunning because I did not watch a lot this month. And yet I somehow found the time to finish this, even though I wasn't like, wow, this is so good. I was just like, this is fine. Like, this is real chill, and I'm watching it.
Sometimes it's harder. Like, it's harder with something that you're actually enjoying, because you need to find the time to give it mentally, your attention, right? And to follow along and whatever. And sometimes you're like, this can be on in the background, and if I miss the details, I will be fine.
Like, listen, they'll reiterate them, usually holding a bag of branded chips awkwardly so that the brand shows. There's like one of the first product placement scene. I just gotta like tell people this because this is where I knew what I was watching. It was in like, so on GMMTV, they split every episode into 4 chunks, right? And it was in the first chunk of the first episode where Luke is like, the actor Luke, who's playing the cousin, is washing his face. And at first it like zooms in on like the Nivea face wash. I even know what it was. Not sponsored. Nivea face wash. And then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's fine. Like they're going to do that. But then he's talking to his mom like through the bathroom door. And he takes the time to be like, oh, thank you for buying me this face wash. It's so I was like, no.
Did he do one of these?
Yeah, no, he was like, you know, rubbing it on his face, like doing like sudsing up, shirtless, of course, because he's, you know, he's buff, you know, it's Luke, he's buff, you know. And I was just like, oh, this is what we're doing. Oh, okay, I see. But anyway, it was a totally fine show. It was fun. It was a good time passer. So if you have YouTube Premium and you need something to download when you're like at a, you know, waiting in a waiting room for a couple hours and you want something that if a kid peeks over your shoulder, you're definitely not going to be scarring them, this one's fine. This one's perfectly fine.
Good to know.
All right, Amanda, got another one for us?
Yeah, I started watching a sports variety show, reality show type thing. It's from, I think, last year. It's on Netflix. It's called Rugged Rugby, Conquer or Die.
Oh, that's very aggressive.
It's a little dramatic, sirs, but okay.
I feel like it's probably not that actually dramatic in practice.
It has its moments, for sure. It's rugby based, obviously, which is kind of a growing sport in Korea, I guess. And basically they invited the top, I think it's like 7 teams, to come and compete for the title of like greatest rugby players in the country kind of thing. So there's like 2 university teams, and like 4 actual professional teams. Some of them are more professional than others. Like they make a point of mentioning that the one team has like most of the Olympic or national team players come from this one team because it's sort of the best.
Yeah.
And then another team they mentioned, like it's sort of a fledgling pro team. These guys all have day jobs and then they come practice after they leave the office kind of thing. So they're not making money at it, but they love it. And then there's the Army team. So which the Army team, I guess, is like the best team in the Army. Like, you know, like you have like the Navy team and the Army team and the Air Force team or whatever, you know, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they all come in and they're all trash talking each other and they're sitting in this arena. And basically I'm only a couple episodes in, but they take sections of the game of rugby and turn those into competitions. So like you have like the scrum where everybody's down in this like sort of knot where they're over top of the ball and you try to push to, and that's all they're doing. And it's like it's almost like the opposite of like a tug of war situation where they have to like try to push each other past a line. And then they're competing for, in the end, there's going to be an actual tournament, and which field you get to play on and which teams you get to play is going to be decided by all these mini games that they're playing. So
why not?
It's wild.
Why not?
Poor university kids are getting just absolutely destroyed.
Well, I imagine they would be. They're not professionals.
They're good college teams. They're decent. They're the top 2 college teams and, you know, and all this stuff. But, like, these other teams it's like if you win, you get to pick your next opponent. And they're like, yeah, we'll come on up here, little high school boys, you know, university kids, because we can kick the crap out of you and it won't even wind us. And then we can move on, you know, leave the harder stuff for later. So I just feel bad for them. So they're kind of like, man, I wish they saw us even a little bit threatening, but they just don't. Sorry,
they
kids.
don't. Sorry, kiddos.
We'll wait and see though, because the first challenge was scrums. What I'm watching right now in the second episode, the challenge involves more of the actual running and passing portion of the game. So, like, the younger bodies might have a little bit more, not in the tackling part, but, you know, the running, they might do all right. So, as with many variety shows in Korea, it's very clear that nobody actually involved in the sport was involved in creating the show.
Yeah.
So, this first running one, it's like, okay, we're gonna have the ball set up on a podium at the end of the field. The end of the field is through this tunnel out of our stadium into that part of the stadium, and so you have to like race through this tunnel across the field, get the ball, and then bring it back across the line, like through the tunnel and across the line. And in the first scrum, like, and there's no rules, they're like, and there's no rules, just go, right? And in first scrum, like, so many, couple of guys, like, almost break arms, get hurt. The ball is sitting on a wooden podium at the end of the thing. They're racing, and they almost get concussed, like, running into this thing. So, like, the second time they go for it, they have a plan ahead. They run two together, and whoever doesn't get to the ball first knocks the podium over as he runs, so that nobody, like, you know, gets decapitated on this big wooden block in the middle of the field. It's just really dangerous. And then they're like tackling and fighting through the tunnel and bouncing into walls and stuff. And the coaches all are like, no, we're not doing this.
We can't do this.
No.
We can't.
So they have like a little, like, they had a little conclave in the middle of the field, and they decided what the rules were going to be, because we're like, these people clearly do not know rugby, so we're going to play rugby. Is kind of known as, in rugby, like, my son plays rugby, it's known as a gentleman's sport. So they do, I mean, they leave it all out on the field, but then they'll all go for beers together, right? Like, it's very, I mean, not my son's team. My 17-year-old didn't go for beers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He went for barbecue. In general. So they're like, listen, we don't want to play this way. So they came up with, they were like, we're going to play by rugby rules. You can't pass. You can't hit the way that you would in football. You can't do these things, right? Like, we're going to play rugby rules, and there's going to be a new rule that nobody does anything in the tunnels other than run, because we're not, you don't touch anybody. And we're going to start calling penalties the way the refs are going to start calling penalties the way they would if it was a game, because somebody's going to die, and that's not going to make good television. And also it's going to cripple our teams. So, like, no. So I'm hoping that it's a little bit more rugby centric go forward from this point, but it is fun. It's fun to watch them all kind of, like, you know, shit talk each other and hype each other up. They're like, oh no, that team's the best team, and look at how big that guy is. And then they're watching the other teams, and they're like, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good, right? Like, wow. But then there's also some, like, levels of, like, competitiveness and stuff where, like, the one guy going into one of the things, he was like, oh yeah, he, like, knocked me out the last time we played each other, so I'm coming for him this time. Like, I got bones to pick here and stuff. And you're like, okay. So so, you know, fun. if you like variety shows, if you like sports drama type stuff,
this might be the one for you.
If you like thighs, because let me tell you,
a lot of meaty thighs, a lot of big thick boys, a lot of thick fellas for you.
Thick fellas and short shorts. It's like, there's a lot going on.
Leg enjoyers, they did not skip leg day. They've been doing their squats. Okay.
They do their squats.
No did.
So it's, but it's, I'm enjoying it. I have it on when I'm at the gym, like,
a little
like,
bit
ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, all right, one more squat. Let's go. We can do this.
I too can have the thick thighs if I believe in my dreams.
So, is it like, it's the kind of thing you can kind of have on in the background and not pay super close attention to, because there's not a lot of plot. Like, I don't. But
because it's a variety show, so
yeah, but I am enjoying it. It is fun to watch them all, and I like rugby, so it's
easy sell.
it's nice when the sport is something that I actually enjoy too. So,
Speaking of easy sells, I have been watching every week the Thai BL Top Form, and like every other BL enjoyer that I'm mutuals with on Blue Sky, we've all been watching Top Form. Okay. It is an R-rated, for good reason, drama that is based on a manga series that a lot of people would know, Dakaichi, aka I'm being harassed by the sexiest man of the year. I just need everyone to know, loose adaptation.
Okay.
Basic plot points, different vibe, in a good way. In my humble opinion.
Okay.
So the basic plot is there's two dudes. One is like a seasoned actor who's been winning like sexiest man of the year for like 5 years in a row, and he's like really passionate about the craft of acting, and also like he's good at it, and he's played by Boom, who was in I think Chains of Heart, and he was also in a bunch of guest roles that are really funny, like guest role Theory of Love, and guest role My Engineer. Like, why not, man? Why not?
Okay.
But he's incredible in this, by the way. Like, that man can cry beautifully, like, show emotion like you've never seen. And so he's like starring in this cop show, and then meanwhile this like new actor on his first gig is like also in the cop show, and becomes immediately like infatuated with Akin. Akin's the main dude, and Jin is the other guy. And so Akin gives him some like real like run-of-the-mill acting advice, but he takes it deeply to heart, and he's like, I'm going to become the best actor in the world so that I can be worthy of you, because I think you're the best. And he's a little obsessed. Okay,
a little bit.
He's a little obsessed. So he then begins like working to becoming the best actor ever, and meanwhile heavily pursuing this other guy. They get put in another show together. People be shipping him, and he is the world's biggest shipper of him and Akin is Jin himself. And basically he's like rising the ranks of the acting world much quicker than Akin is, and sort of taking his popularity, but not intentionally. Like, it's not malicious. And it's good. It's like a fun show, but like it's also a deeply messed up show. And there was a scene, everyone do be talking about the sex scene with the honey, okay?
That is straight from the anime.
That is straight from the anime, but also like everyone I know who watches BL are like women and gay men and trans men in their 30s. And universally, every single one of us who watched that were like, that is a sensory nightmare. Like, you ain't ever getting that honey out of that rug. Like, that is going to be awful to deal with textile-wise. But, like, the show is filmed very artfully and, like, very, like, you can tell a lot of artistic thought has been put into this show. And it's well written. It's well acted. The acting is fantastic. It's really good. And also the other guy who's playing Jin was Leon from Don't Say No, who was like the main dude's younger brother, who was like the second couple. And he's so good in this as like it's like basically golden retriever cat. And like they really like push that imagery
nice
as well, where it's like he's a golden retriever, Akin's like a standoffish cat. And I'm really genuinely enjoying it. I was very pleased, though it obviously wasn't perfect, but like there is trigger warnings. Obviously, there's sexual assault and things of this nature in this, but the way that they actually dealt with it was a lot more nuanced and less not perfect, but less victim blamey than the manga and anime version, which was egregious. That was egregious. But anyway, I'm actually genuinely enjoying it. It's on WeTV.
Okay.
And it started, I think I just finished episode 6, and there was like a, you can watch episode 7 if you like want it in advance if you pay money. And I'm like, nah, listen, I already pay you WeTV. I don't need to pay you more.
Right.
I can just wait till next week. And there's like 11 episodes in total, so it's going to be done in May, which is perfect because I got 2 new shows to replace it starting at the beginning of May. There's two little things called Pit Babe 2 and The Next Prince that are going to be my personality going forward in May, but regardless. This one, I'm really enjoying this. I will say, do not watch this where any child could wander in, okay? It's not filmed in a lewd manner, I would say. Like, it's filmed very, like, art, like, erotic art house film, if that's how I would, like, describe the style of. And there's like, they do a lot of like for like Jin's character will just appear with little tiny angel wings. Like, when he's doing things, and like it's very interestingly filmed, and I really enjoy watching shows where it's really obvious that the creators of the shows are taking some artistic risks with making it, and this one they really are, and it's really paying off, and I'm really genuinely enjoying it, and that is on WeTV. And you can watch it there if that is something you wish to do. And I do recommend it if you are fine with R-rated gay art house shows based on mangas of all things. But no, I was like, I had 0 expectations going into this show. And then I was like, oh.
Okay.
Because I watched I was like, good. I checked the first episode came up for me on YouTube because they put like the first episode up to like entice people into going, and you know how it is. And so like I was like,
maybe I will.
This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and I was very happily surprised. Cool. So so people, I think a lot of people would really enjoy it, and they should check it out.
Cool.
Yep. And now we go into the final portion of this episode, the speed round. I know since there's only 2 of us, it seems like this has come so quickly. But Amanda, give us a little quick rundown of anything else you've been watching.
All right. Well, I've been watching My Golden Blood.
I
have vampires. Speaking of something that is what it is,
it's like fine.
I mean, from the first episode when they introduced Josh's character, and he's like in the pool, and it's just his body, a lot of his body, and you're like,
okay, I see what we're doing. Basically. I will say, I think Mond is having a great time.
So much fun.
He's so cartoonishly villainous that I'm just like, King. That's right. Cackle, twirl your little invisible mustache. Let's do this.
I'm surprised by how well I am believing evil Mond, because Mond just
he's really giving it
puppy dog energy. And he's really not.
I think he's having the most fun of anyone in this show.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's really gathered up, like, he read the script and said, oh, this is an unintentional comedy. And then just went with it. He was like, this is kind of dumb. So I'm just gonna
and it's fine, and the plot is fine, and it's fine, right? It's like, it's not bad. It's fine to like throw on in the kitchen while I'm making dinner or something.
Yeah.
I'm a little. The fact that they're trying to make me buy Fluke as a 20-year-old or whatever, like, come on, kids. He's
whatever.
Like, he does not look 20. But also that he's 20 and Josh is played like Josh is like a 200-year-old vampire or something who's been watching over him since he was a child. Like,
Creep alert!
ew!
Creep alert! Yeah.
So,
Wee-oo! Call the police!
Stop.
I'm calling the cops! Yeah.
No! Stop it! But
It's whatever.
if you turn that part of your brain off and just...
If you're just like, I'm watching a spoof of a much better vampire show, it's a lot of fun.
Then it's fine.
Yeah.
Then it works. It's okay. Try to see what else. I'm watching Four Eagle Brothers again. Mm-hmm. It's a daily, weekender. It's a weekender. I had sort of like let it go, but I'm catching up on it.
You're back.
I really do enjoy it. I just was busy, right? So, and anime wise, there is a new Anne of Green Gables anime called Anne Shirley out. I've watched the first couple episodes of that. It's very lovely, like
is that
very
on Crunchyroll?
Pretty. Yeah, it is. It's on Crunchyroll. It's called Anne Shirley.
Well, Anne of Green Gables is super popular in Japan.
So popular.
In Japan.
I used to work at an oil museum in a small town in Ontario, and we carried Anne of Green Gables merchandise in our gift shop because when we had Japanese, like, tourists come in, they wanted the Anne of Green Gables.
They wanted it.
I was like, why
do we
yearned oil derricks in Anne of Green Gables? She is in a completely different province. And my boss was like,
they don't care. They don't care.
Money. Like, I need money. I was like, okay. But it's cute. I mean, it's Anne of Green Gables. It is what it is. It is the story of a precocious little... She's 12, she's redheaded, she's an orphan. And they do a really good job in this one of making it really clear that, like, Marilla and Matthew are like, this is not what they were expecting, but they're absolutely horrified to learn that even though they were going to adopt an orphan to be a farmhand, they're absolutely horrified to find out that that's what other people do too. Like, this poor girl has been treated horribly by her adoptive families who keep
sending her
back when they don't need her anymore. And you're like, this is what you were doing too. But, like, okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. They're like,
they were gonna keep them, okay? They were gonna keep them forever. Don't worry about it.
So it's, it is. I'm also watching a show called, I need to try and find the English title for it that it's under on, it's called Catch Me at the Ballpark on Crunchyroll. And it's basically like a sports slice of life about an office worker who loves baseball, and he goes to the baseball games because, like, his office building is near the field. So he'll go in the evening after work, after a stressful day at work. And this girl who's one of those, like, beer keg girls who goes around filling your cups and right, and they carry these little mini beer kegs in backpacks on their back. And I've seen it in, like, cute little, you see clips on YouTube and stuff. And I also thought, okay, it's neat. They have the little pit stop where there's a shelf that's at the right height, and they just put their back onto it, and they get their keg switched out and do little bits, and somebody hands them a glass of water, and they suck back their water so they can get back out there and go again. And I was like, okay, but, like, this show's done a good job of showing exactly how exhausting that is.
Yeah.
You're doing stairs. You're just walking stairs with a keg on your back. It's tiring. And they're cute. Like, they're just, it's all cute girls because they sell more beer that way.
Well, yes.
But
unfortunately,
you've got these tiny little adorable women. Most of them are like college students who are making extra money and stuff, and they're just with kegs on their back going up and down stairs all night. Like, my knees
they're
hurt
also
just
not
thinking about
skipping
it.
leg day. They're gonna be having them thick thighs too. No. It's just it's your month of thick thighs, man.
Right? It's sort of set up like a romance between these two, but there are episodes, like, each episode is into, like, sort of segments. And there are segments where the two don't interact at all. And it's really much more a slice of life sort of scenario. And like, oh, in this story, she found a lost child and had to interact with the security guards. And this story's about the girl who works in the hot dog stand who wishes she was a beer girl, but then she realizes that the hot dog girl is important too. You know, like it's.
I don't even remember what it was called, but I remember watching one about train employees that was very similar to the what you're describing vibe-wise. Yeah.
So I'm just really enjoying it. It's very easy and cute and also still watching season 2 of Apothecary Diaries. Still loving it. Very delightful. This season, things are a little bit more politics in the back house, in the back palace. Somebody is trying to manufacture abortificants, like abortion drugs, in the back house to use maliciously on
not with people who are asking for it, but against their will. I get you. I get you.
Mm-hmm. So they're trying. Somebody is trying to arrange things for there to be one woman who can have babies, and it's so it's a little dark that way. But it was the first season too. There's a lot of darkness around the different things that happen with these women. A whole section of it, we've learned that the former emperor had disturbing proclivities. There's a reason why one of the wives in the back house is like 12. So she is not visited she was a wife that got handed off to the new emperor for political reasons, and the new emperor does not visit her. He likes women, not children. So that's nice. But it makes her life kind of rough, and we've learned some other stuff. So it's got some dark bits to it, but it's also like really, it's still beautifully drawn. The artwork is so good, and it's interesting. We're learning new things and we're doing new stuff. So it's still very fun. Also watching the second season of Windbreaker, which is the high school fight club series that I watched last year. Still very high school fight clubby.
It told you the first season has told you all you're looking forward to in the second season.
Yeah, so there's a new evil opposition team, high school,
new evil
whatever.
Thugs.
They're kicking butt and learning philosophy through the art of war. It's it is what it is. But we're very much enjoying it. We just really enjoy it. My son and I are like, why do we like this so much? All they do is beat on each other, but we just do because we do. It's good. The characters are good, and they have there are some life lessons in there in between the beatings. So it's a good show. I'm enjoying it.
Nice. So I have been continuing with Leap Day. We had an episode, you can check it out, a couple weeks ago about the new GMM TV show Leap Day. It continues. Episode 3 just dropped, I think either yesterday or today. I watched it today, the day of this recording, which is a Thursday. And episode 3 was just as good as episode 1 and 2. I'm obsessed with this show. Gunn is so perfect in this show that he's such a delight. Because he's just such a little bean, and you could understand why his cousin who takes care of him loves him so much. Anyway, I'm obsessed with this show. I'm loving it. Listen, if it continues on the same vibe that the first 3 episodes had, easily a contender for my fave show of the year.
Nice.
And we're very
Wow.
early in the year. I am loving it. I've been continuing with Usatoki Rhetoric. I'm
Yay!
going to finish that one next. I really am enjoying it.
I'm so glad.
I'm gonna finish that one, and then I'm gonna do Way Back Love, but I haven't continued with Way Back Love yet. So, but Usatoki Rhetoric, it's on Viki. It's so sweet. It's so charming. The show is incredibly charming, and I won't get too much into it because you can just check out last week's episode if you want to hear me talk about how charming I've been in Usatoki Rhetoric. On IGE, I've been watching a few things. I have started earlier this week the Demon Hunter's Romance, which is a like historical fantasy, which is about a woman who her whole family thinks she's crazy and has like she's just returning home from being away for her health, air quotes, because she sees things, and what she sees are demons. And she's there because she comes home for her cousin's wedding, but her cousin's bride, she's having weird visions about her cousin's bride who's looking a little demonic. And then she meanwhile then meets a fella who's like, I'm a demon hunter, but not all demons are bad. You're not crazy. You can just see reality that most humans can't. And he has to, I've got to give this show this. He has one of the sickest swords. He has like this, like, it's almost like a steampunk ass sword where it's like, there's multiple different blades, but one handle. And so like he reaches back and like twists it and it like, it goes like, and like selects a specific blade that he then pulls out. Yeah, it's very cool. And he travels around with his little demon rabbit buddy who appears as like a little human guy. Anyway, her father then ends up dead in a fire, but she doesn't think he's dead. And her family is like, are you off your medication? And so she leaves to go find him and is like, I want you to help me figure out what happened to my dad. I don't think he died in that fire, and I will help you with your demon hunting stuff. And he's like, girl, please. I don't have time for this, but like you can, I'm not at the part yet where he's 100% simping, but you can tell he's a little down bad, there. Okay.
Right. Okay.
But I'm really enjoying it. I did watch the first episode of the new BL, My Stubborn, mostly because I'm like, what has Yoon been making now? Because every time I see Yoon, I don't expect the show to be good, but I expect that I'll probably be entertained by it.
That's fair.
And when I tell you, this show starts hog wild. All right.
Okay.
Like, so it starts out with it appeared like, okay, if this was not this show, it starts out with what appears that a man is in a garden jerking himself off. But like you then expect this is gonna cut and he's gonna be doing something innocuous, you know, like they would in a comedy where it's like, he's actually just like using a mortar press. No, he's just legit jerking himself off. And then like his friend's brother comes out to find him and is like titillated by what he sees. And then the guy then is like, hey, you want me to jerk you off? And that's how this show starts. Wow. That's the opening. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And like, there's no plot yet. It's just like, okay, then a couple years pass. There was another incident involving a car BJ. It was like, what? But like, a couple years past, he's now like an intern at this company, and oh no, who's his boss? Is this his brother's friend? And I'm just like, what is there's no plot yet though? Like, it's just like this older sex pest dude and this younger guy who likes him for no reason I can tell. And I'm just like, yeah, okay, you know what?
It makes me think, in a sense, it kind of makes me think of what was that movie that I watched called Shoot 'Em Up? And we walked out and we were like, it's basically just they sat in a room and said, what are all the different crazy ways we could have gunfights?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And this one is like, what are all the ways we can make these two end up in sexually compromised positions with one another? But then there's like a subplot where it's like, it's very clear that Yoon is like simping for his friend who doesn't realize it yet. And I'm like, okay, this I'm invested in. This is what I came for. It is listen, I've seen one episode, but I just had to mention that, like, if you're gonna click play, no, that's how it begins. That's the opening scene where, like, I'm like, okay, when's it gonna cut to the comedic, like, he's,
right,
you know,
he's hoeing in the garden
using a shake weight or something. Like, when does the joke happen? But no
joke.
Nah, they're just like, nah, he's just self-pleasuring at his buddy's house in his buddy's yard. Like you do.
As one does.
A normal thing to do. In a very different vibe, on Viki, I'm also watching the C-drama Sweet Games. I'm about halfway through. It is a Noona romance where the younger fella is played by Win-Win from Wavy. And he's big simp energy.
Nice. I mean, if you're gonna do that, that's
older
the way to
simp energy. Yeah, it can't be the other way. Then it's just like, wow, what is this? Why are you creeping on this younger person? But nah, he's like, yeah, girl. And also, like, it doesn't say he's autistic, but it's kind of implied. Like, he always has headphones. He gets very overwhelmed by noise. He's a voice actor.
Okay.
And she's a game designer who, like, hires him to be a voice in her Otome game, but he's also her landlord.
Okay.
A classic setup.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a lovely office full of really charming little weirdos.
Love it.
It's very sweet. I think you would really like it, Amanda.
What's it called?
Sweet Games.
Sweet Games. Okay.
It's on Viki.
All right.
It's cute. And then I'm also watching, in the same vein, title-wise, Sweet Tooth Good Dentist on iQIYI. Which is Mark Packin's new BL. He's great.
Okay.
The show is very vibes. You know, like, listen, we're having fun here. Where it's like, one guy is like he'll do anything, he'll do any odd job for money because he comes from a poor family. But he also is passionate about sweets and has like a TikTok live channel where he like does like candy food reviews, but then oh no, he needs a root canal but can't afford one, and so he goes to like the dental school at his university, and one of the students there is like, hey, I will do your root canal as like my final project before I graduate. But then, oh no, it turns out this guy was a guy that he was hired to break up with and then was then rehired by the guy after he broke up with him for someone else to then go on the date that the guy had been planning.
Wow.
And so he's like, this dude is weird, but like not creepy weird, just like an odd duck, you know? And then, then this sort of, I guess they're in love. And also you get a lot of dental advice on proper brushing and flossing.
I feel like I would be willing to go to, like, I'll go to the college for a haircut from the students, but like a root canal, that feels...
Like, listen, you gotta train new dentists somehow, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just let them do it on somebody else.
And finally, I'm continuing my deep academic dive into the world of Chinese vertical dramas. I was only doing it on YouTube, but I think iQIYI heard me because I opened iQIYI and they were like, guess what we got now? We got vertical dramas. I'm like, no, I can stop it. And like, they have all the same actors as the one on YouTube. There's like 30 different actors that are in all of these. Okay.
Right.
I've seen these people more than my own family. And if you're wondering like, oh, how many can she possibly watch? I watch 2 to 5 every day.
Wow.
If you're wondering why I haven't watched that many dramas, it's because, and they're not good. I need like, it's not like I'm like, wow, this is incredible. There's a lot, and like, they have a lot of weird, like, it's when you watch something and you can see what sort of like, propagandic bent they're going on.
Right.
A lot of anti-abortion stuff. A lot of weird gender politics. Like some of them are really good. I have made a playlist. I will link it on the episode post on certifiednoonas.com of ones that I think are enjoyable, I guess, to watch. I have a whole playlist of them now. Like some of them are just like, and they're all like, you got historicals, you got isekais, you got I have magical powers that everyone accepts for some reason. You have so many just douchey rich guys getting these young women pregnant and then paying them, but the women are like, no, I'm not a prostitute. I won't take the money, girl. Just take the 10 million and go. You don't need this schlub. And then like they find out she's pregnant and they're like, oh, she didn't take she didn't take the money. I guess she wasn't a terrible woman like I thought she was. And I'm like, okay, enough.
I'm sorry. If I'm pregnant and single and you offer me $10 million, I'm taking
the $10 million. But like, no, this is before they're pregnant. This is when they have the one night stand, you know, and then later find out they're pregnant. And then he's like, well, she's a terrible person because, she was, scheming to get money out of me. And then the assistant's like, she gave back the money. She didn't actually want it. You've been wrong about her the whole time. I'm like, how many times do I have to see this?
How many tribals are living around?
How many rich, good-looking young dudes with grandmas insisting they get married can there possibly be? It's not possible. This is too many. Listen, I also have like a group chat with fellow enthusiasts. I'm not going to call us vertical drama enthusiasts, but the audience for Chinese vertical dramas. And actually also has Thai ones. I found myself watching a Thai one that was clearly a riff off of Jane the Virgin.
Oh, okay.
Except that she wasn't a virgin, but the rest of the plot was essentially the same. It's the show. These things. Help. I need to stop. Okay? I'm really hoping that May with Pit Babe 2 and The Next Prince will, like, let me be free of this vertical drama prison I found myself in. But that's pretty much it. I really haven't watched that much like I normally do. Like, I've just been a lot of other stuff happening. So, yeah, that's basically it. And that's it for us today. So thank you for hanging out with us. You can find all the links and time codes to everything we talked about on our website, certifiednoonas.com. And you can also listen to the episode there. If for some reason you decided, hey, I want to stop listening to it here, and I want to go listen to it there, you can. But we're wherever podcasts can be found in audio. We're also on video and YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, hey, welcome. We love y'all. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And also, if you want to support this podcast, because we are, unlike Faceless Love, we are not sponsored by any actual companies. You can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas and join the Certified Found family. They're a found family on the web. We love them. They're great. We have little mini episodes. We have a movie night. It's good. It's good crack. It's good fun. We're on socials. It's always at Certified Noonas. We're on Instagram and Blue Sky. We have a Discord you can join. Links below. And yeah, that's basically it. And so we'll be back next week with another episode. We hope that you're having a fantastic end of April. And as always, wear a mask, wash your hands, and keep enjoying Asian entertainment. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.